There's the agenda.
Mr. Reeser.
Yes, I had to turn off the mute. Yes.
Well, that's all right. I just want to say I appreciate you joining the infrastructure, and I think you will be a very good addition there.
Well, I'm certainly going to give it my try anyway. I'll try what I can do.
Well, you got the
Anything to help the borough.
You got the background for it, so we're glad you accepted.
Well, thank you very much for asking, and I hope I add some benefit.
You also get the award, Dave, for being closest to Borough Hall. I think you even beat Tom Endy.
No, that'd be close.
That'd be close.
That would be close. Yes.
Only if I get the traffic light.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I have no traffic light.
Tom Endy, are you there?
I am.
This is kind of just an unofficial administrative check here, I'll call it. I saw, excuse me, I saw where they had finished the long lines.
Yes.
And my only question is Spring Street, that's our street, isn't it?
Yes.
Did they charge us for that one? Because it doesn't look like it got done.
I'll have to double check that. Any particular block you're referencing, or?
I'll start at State Hill and drive up through, and I didn't see any fresh yellow paint, but I didn't know if that was included or what, but I thought it was.
It was. I will have to double check that. I haven't
Uh-huh.
seen the invoice. I haven't seen the finalized invoice come through yet for it, but I'll double check that.
Just to make sure that that footage wasn't in on the, of what we paid, but it wasn't
Well,
done.
that'll be difficult. Yeah. Okay. I'll check on that. I'll let you know.
Yeah. That's fine.
Good evening, Lieutenant Endy.
Hey, Bill. How are you?
Good, buddy. How are you?
Excellent.
Okay. Well, it is 6:30. We'll call the meeting to order. The Borough Council of Tuesday, October 13th, 2020. For general information, there was an executive session before tonight's meeting to discuss personnel issues and contractual issues. We'll call the meeting to order, and I will recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please, Melissa.
Councilmember Boucher,
Here.
Councilmember Woodward,
Here.
Councilmember Brunner,
Here.
Councilmember Jenks,
Here.
Councilmember Menon,
Here.
Councilmember Jur,
Here.
and Council President Mull.
Here. Thank you. Public comments.
Yes, Gregory Krutayarski, 41 Cardinal Road.
Yes.
Okay, you know my topic. Starting mid-August 2020, Mr. Kulinov, 47 Cardinal Road, violates Chapter 2 Animals, Part 3, Control of Animal Defecation, Section 301, Animal Defecation on Public and Private Land Restricted. He brings his dog to the driveways and access paths of his neighbors at 41 and 48 Cardinal daily, even rubs his dog's feces into the pavement. I attempted to explain to him orally that he is not allowed to do this. Emailed him Chapter 2 of the Borough Code and the link to the same document on the Borough website and pictures of the same. He continued, so we had to call the Borough Police. The arriving police officers on August 24 did nothing to collect evidence or to warn Mr. Kulin of his violations. We requested police investigation on the officer Ney, who refused to get out of her vehicle to collect evidence and created false blotter report. After several requests to issue citations to Mr. Cullen, Mrs. Bear, the code enforcement officer of the borough, on August 31st, finally had sent him a mail warning about his violations and asking to stop it. She specifically mentioned Section 301, which deals with the very idea of allowing animals to defecate and or urinate in the borough, except at the owner's land. The question of removing of the feces is listed in Section 302, which she did not mention in her email. Did this dog lover stop? No, he continued beautifying Cardinal Road around his land, but not inside his yard, as he is supposed to do. He walks his dog to the nearest plot, which is Mr. Jadek's driveway, then across the street to create the smell of his dog's excrements and urine for the neighbor he loves. We filmed it and took pictures and emailed to Mrs. Bear, to mayor and to borough manager. No actions taken. Mrs. Bear replied that she never had issued a citation for such violation because the feces were picked up. But this is in Section 302, not Section 301 that she wrote about. As a result, on September 28th, Mr. Cullen brought his fresh crop to my curbside at the very same place where he rubbed it on August 24th. He had to go home and bring supplies to clean up his gifts. It took him 10 minutes or so to clean just a portion of his dog's usual unload amount. What about the plot where he creates a restroom for his dog? I am talking about one close to Spiral Lane with red dots. Please show the picture. Okay, it's on the screen now. Red dots are for the September, green dots are for August. He has his own schedule. 3 times a day he goes there. So I am talking about one close to Spiral Lane with red dots over. Section 301 of Chapter 2 prohibits using it for anybody. We are We are going to see historic event today. The Bureau is going to assign responsibilities for code enforcement to Kraft Company. Mrs. Bear is not capable of doing the job we are paying her. She is not enforcing overgrown vegetation at Cardinal Road, falsified the study at 1115 Trash Road Street, refused to pick up dead animal at Wyomissing Boulevard, citing Borough only picks up deers, which is not true. Chapter 10 tells that it's any animal which has no owner. She's afraid of issuing any citation to Mr. Moll's friends, Mr. Cullen and his wife Dinara, closed Spiral Lane without any legal grounds. But mayor and borough manager are doing nothing to make her do the job she was hired for. It is easier to start paying extra dollars to Kraft than to force Miss Bear learn the borough code and start enforcing it as it is written in her job description. Ladies and gentlemen, for your education, let me show you what I found in the Webster Thesaurus. Corruption is sinking to a state of low moral standards and behavior. Another definition, immoral conduct or practices harmful or offensive to society. I believe that what we have in the borough of Wyomissing, namely, the police openly refuses to do its duties to stop the offenders. Benefits of private no parking zone is given by the council to the family which harms its neighbors for 10 years and now is spreading dog's feces and urine around, violating the borough code after being told several times to stop it and not being prosecuted for 2 months of violations. The code enforcement officer openly refuses to enforce borough code for which she is being paid a salary of more than $60,000 a year. Chief of Fire and Police Committee openly tells the public at the meeting that there is no need to enforce borough code because he thinks so. Mayor can illegally close public street without issuing declarations of emergency, keeping it at the same time open for his business customers. Where borough manager can lie at the public meeting and even admit that he was not telling the truth, but had been told to lie. And nevertheless, the Fire and Police Committee chief is acting as if these words can be used as the basis for rejecting a petition by citizens to install safety measure in the street. I believe that the definition of corruption can be applied to what we have in the borough.
Your time.
I finished. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Please show the other pictures.
Wait, wait, go back to that other picture a second. Did you actually look at all those dots?
Yes,
Oh my God.
I have pictures.
And is that a football play that's on there? What are all those arrows?
He is using it as a public restroom for his dog.
Okay, go to the next one. I couldn't tell.
Next, please. Next. This is the ordinance. Here, Mr. Cullen is doing his job with his dog, and it is documented for every dot.
Oh my God.
And next, please. Here, on the upper one, it's August 24. He dropped it and then rubbed into the pavement, and I collected it. I have it in 2 bags, grass with the feces of his dog. And the last one, he accidentally dropped it while trying to explain me how bad neighbor I am, telling you about his behavior. He used some words that I don't understand, and something about asshole. I know what is hole. Hole is a something in something, but
Okay.
asshole I don't know. You can
That's enough. Your time is up.
This is our life. This is he doing the same thing at my neighbor's driveway, day
All right.
after day.
That
I'm
is
over.
enough. Enough. Okay. Anyone else?
Trying to unmute myself. We have here a video for yourself, gentlemen. This has been zoomed into. You can let it run. I'm just, oops. So I hope the video comes up. The idea is to see how Mr. Cullen brings the dog and takes it back. It is not a stroll. He purposely brings the dog in his arms and deposits it to do its business at the corner of our driveway. Melissa, can we still get that? Okay. Okay. Yeah, this has been a little bit. So the dog is in his hands. He takes it, keeps going, and now he puts it down. And that's it. And the dog does his thing. And then a few minutes later, he takes it back home. He does not go anywhere else. He just brought it there, and now he takes it back home. So, as I have said many times, this is not a occurrence. It's an act done on purpose. And yeah, the video keeps showing. Now it's gonna switch, and you will see him continuing his stroll home. So that's about it. You can see him also going. So that is how this is a sample of how this evolves. He doesn't even try to get his dog to defecate on his land as per law. He just brings it in his arms, drops it there, and then takes it back home. I don't know how you see this, but the way I see it, everybody sees it, it is done on purpose. I agree with Mr. Kutraski, and I regret that. I don't know who laughed, sounded like Mr. Jenks. The reason we have to go to such extent is because you guys obviously doubt our sincerity. Obviously, you don't think that we have credibility or something. I don't know why you think this. I'm tempted to believe it's because of us being foreigners or something, whatever you do, but you make us have to document this so we can convince you. And I think that laughing at the effort that Mr. Kratoyarski has done, it's regrettable, I think. And I think I will stop here. I hope the video was relevant. Melissa, I thank you so much for your effort. I realized there were some problems there. Thank you. Take care.
Thank you. We'll move on to the general meeting now. May I have a motion to receive all the committee reports, please?
So moved.
Second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Have it. First item is the council minutes from the September 8th meeting. Are there any additions or corrections to the meeting minutes? All those in favor of accepting the report as written, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Consulting engineers report, Jim McCarthy.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, Jim.
Oh,
Pretty much everything in this report's self-explanatory. Just two minor things. Work has commenced out on 4th Street with the clearing from Greenwich to Innovation Way, as well as they started on some curb and sidewalk work, demolition this week. So that's it on that. The only other thing I had, we had missed this previously, was authorization from council to advertise the zoning ordinance overlay amendments. So if the council is so inclined to authorize that advertising.
Oh, okay.
What is it again?
It's the public notice advertising of the proposed zoning ordinance amendments. We had sent those to county planning.
Yeah, I don't think we're ready for that, Jim. I don't know if we got comments from county planning. I think we're going to need to revisit and maybe do some tweaks on the draft before we advertise it. So I don't think we're ready for council to authorize advertising that ordinance yet.
Okay, you were the one that told me to put it under my report.
Did I? Well, maybe that was before I saw the county comment letter.
Okay, well then we can strike that if Chris isn't ready for that yet.
There's another one for Bethany.
Well, no, that one's on me. That one's on me.
So does that have to come back to the planning commission?
Yeah, I would think we're gonna, I think Jim and Michelle and I are gonna get together and talk about the comments from Berks County Planning Commission. I think some of them are actually going to be helpful to clarify some issues in the draft ordinance. And then we'll recirculate it to the Borough Planning Commission.
Okay.
Hey. All those in favor of accepting the consulting engineers report, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Police chief and mayor's report, Mayor Levering and Lieutenant Endy.
Hi, I have nothing to add, but I'll turn it over to Lieutenant Endy, who will be glad to answer your question.
Go ahead, Tom. Did we lose him? Okay.
Must have.
I had spoken with Lieutenant Endy earlier this afternoon, and again, he didn't have anything further to add either. I don't know why he's not here.
He's muted.
Oh, is he?
But
There he is.
Sorry, that's operator error on my part.
all right, there you go.
Sorry about that. I have nothing to add to the report as it stands. If there's any questions or comments or additional data that somebody's looking at that piques their interest on something, please let me know. I'd be happy to take care of that for you.
So you had 4 calls at Equus. What was that about?
I'd have to look for the actual individual reports, but I mean, it could be simple. That's the property. So it's not actually Equus, it's a property that's always been labeled as the property since the changeover from Vanity Fair. So that could have been a burglar alarm at one of the buildings there, but I can certainly find out those 4 for you and get back to you, John.
That'd be great. Thank you. Hey,
Okay.
one more thing. Have we gotten any complaints from residents of Berkshire Heights about noise coming from, apparently people are driving down the abandoned railroad tracks across the river and it gets really, really loud. Have we heard anything about that or not?
We've gotten some calls where there were fireworks that was attributed to over in the city area off of that, but not that it was down in that area. I don't recall anything specifically back on the railroad right-of-way or that dirt road right-of-way access road. Again, I'll look for that. Do you have a certain date or time or something?
I'll email it to you.
Okay, very good.
Thank you.
I'll email that back to council so you have it for the information for all.
Okay.
Okay. All those in favor of accepting the police chief and mayor's report, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Have it. Fire commissioner's report, Bill.
Okay, fire commissioner's report for month of September. There were 128 calls for service. Of those, 84 were within the borough. 51 of those were alarm activations or AFAs. 49, the other top one was EMS calls or motor vehicle crashes. Fire damage for the month was $75,000, and I believe that was a kitchen fire. And total responses year to date, 1,130. And that's all I have with this. Anybody have
Any questions on the fire department report? All those in favor of accepting that one, please signify by saying aye.
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 Ayes have it. Personnel Committee, Tom.
Okay, I have a list of several items there at the bottom of the page that we need to take action on here. The committee is recommending to council the authorization of the use of an outside conflict resolution counsel, a special council person, Chris Gerber, for an assigned project. And I will make that motion.
And the second.
Second.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Go ahead, Tom.
Okay, another action that the committee is recommending to council was to approve the personnel changes to the organizational chart for the borough administration, and I will make that motion.
And
Second.
we have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Ayes have it. Congratulations to those who are affected by that. Go ahead,
There was
Tom.
kind of some reshuffling around there. Okay, the committee is also recommending the council to approve the appropriate salary adjustments corresponding to those personnel changes within the organizational structure and chart, and I will make that motion.
And the second.
Second.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Ayes have it. Go ahead, Tom.
Okay, there is another action that the committee is recommending to council, and that is the hiring of an interim Parks and Recreation Director to begin on November 30th, 2020, contingent upon review and approval from the rec board, and I will make that motion.
And the second.
Second.
We have a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Go ahead, Tom.
All right, and finally, the committee is recommending the council to advertise for the employment of a maintenance worker, or for a maintenance worker position that is currently open. I will make that motion.
Second.
And a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Thank you.
Okay, and that's all for this time.
Okay. All those in favor of accepting that committee report, please signify by saying aye.
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 Ayes have it. Thank you, Tom.
No.
Okay,
Recreation Board, Steve.
Okay, the rec board met on September 15th. Obviously with COVID, we sort of running into limited what we can do. But that being said, there are two motions we have to make. The first one is with regret, the Recreation Board is making a recommendation to the Borough Council that we cancel the Spooky Hollow event based on the CDC guidelines for COVID-19 for the calendar year of 2020. So I will make that motion.
And a second.
second.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Ayes have it. Go ahead, Steve.
On another note, this isn't anything that we have to do anything on, but the rec board has been inundated by questions about, trick or treating. Sorry, and I know the borough has made the presence that we're following the CDC guidelines, and there's really no way to govern this. But so we're just making recommendations that anybody who does not want to participate in the trick or treating, just to turn your lights off. And we will expect the trick-or-treaters to respect that. The last thing that we have on the rec board is, I'm on the wrong computer. The rec board has made, we're talking about the recreation fees for 2021. The rec board would like to make a recommendation that the fees remain unchanged for the calendar year of 2021 from the calendar year of 2020. So I will make that motion.
And a second.
Second.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Just some other bit of information. Randy Widener has told us that he will not be seeking another term on the rec board. But Randy has been doing it from way back when my wife was on the rec board, which seems like 1,000 years ago. So we'd like to thank him for his service, even though he's got a couple months left. That's all I have for the rec board.
Okay. You have, Steve, do you have anybody in mind for replacing him on the board?
Well, I know we have some alternate people that are already on the board that will, I believe one of those will be recommended at the next meeting.
Great, thank you.
Yep.
All right, all those in favor of accepting the report, please signify by saying aye.
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 Ayes have it. Infrastructure, Tom.
Okay. On the, I guess it comes up as the second page there. Excuse me, the first item of business there is the committee is recommending to council to execute the indemnification agreement, which I guess was already done, hopefully.
That is,
PA American Water, what's that?
that's out to PA American, but it's not back yet.
Okay, so do we still need to vote on that and everything, or?
I would recommend a motion to approve the agreement subject to the concurrence of PA American.
Okay, which was, of course, made them responsible for all costs and liability related to the proposed improvements that they're doing out along, that's all, just that State Hill Road project, right?
That's right. Yeah, there's some pedestrian crossing signals that are being installed at the, I guess, Vista and State Hill Road intersection, and they're responsible for the installation of those signals.
Okay. All right, and I'll make that motion.
And a second.
Second.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Go ahead, Tom.
Okay, under sewers, the committee is recommending the council to award the sanitary sewer rehab and televising project work to Mr. Rehab as the lowest bidder in the amount of $159,797.86. And I'll make that motion. They have worked with us before. Is Jim Bob there?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, okay. Anything else I want to add to that, Jim?
No, just that they won't be starting until the beginning of the new year.
Okay. All right. And I'll make that motion though to go ahead with that project.
We have a second on that?
Second.
We have a second. We have a roll call, please, Melissa.
Councilmember Boucher,
Yes.
Councilmember Woodward,
Yes.
Councilmember Brunner,
Yes.
Councilmember Jenks,
Yes.
Councilmember Menon,
Yes.
Councilmember Durr,
Yes.
and Council President Mull.
Yes.
Okay. Under streets, the committee is recommending the council approve change order number 1 in the amount of $13,881.14 to Barvis Construction. And Jim, do you want to review any of that quick or not?
Bab or McCarthy?
Either one.
Some of this was for the elimination of some items that PennDOT's going to have Alan Myers do as part of the PennDOT contract. And then as well as to do the schedule acceleration, and then a couple other quantity adjustments on the project. So it was there's about 67,000 in reduced work on the PennDOT right of ways, and about $80,000 for the island and the method of paving 4th Street, along with the accelerated schedule to meet the Ducon opening.
Okay, and I'll make that motion to go ahead with change order number 1.
Okay. And a second?
Second.
We have a second. Roll call, please, Melissa.
Councilmember Boucher,
Yes.
Councilmember Woodward,
Yes.
Councilmember Brunner,
Yes.
Councilmember Jenks,
Yes.
Councilmember Menon,
Yes.
Councilmember Durr,
Yes.
and Council President Mull.
Yes.
Okay, at the bottom of the page under street improvements, although we didn't do any big work there this year, the committee is recommending that we approve sending out curb repair notices to residents with damaged curbs within the proposed street work area of Hill Avenue, Cherrywood Road, and Reading Boulevard. I'll make that motion.
Second.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. All right. Any problem?
Okay. All right, under the, on the next page there, under the storm flood damage, just give a report there, just a quick update. Apparently although we have the pipe, the inlet boxes are delayed in arrival, I guess, and will not be able to be installed until spring unless, I guess, I don't know how mild it has to be, Jim, but if it's mild enough for installation, I don't know. Is that a call you make? How much lead time you need? I don't know.
Yeah, we still don't have the boxes, and we might not have them for another 2-3 weeks. So depending on how the winter goes, we could do it in the winter, most likely spring.
Okay. All right. No, there's no action required there. That's just information there on that one. And then the last page there, the school district with the Woodland Road signal. The committee is recommending to council to revise the agreement to include the maintenance of the electronic school signals as being the Wyomissing Area School District's responsibility, and have them execute an aforementioned indemnification agreement for that purpose. And I'll make that motion.
And a second.
Second.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Ayes have it.
Okay, and the Hewitt House lease renewal, the committee is recommending that the rate be kept the same and to renew the lease agreement with the party involved. And I'll make that motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Thank you.
And the other information, I believe that should be noted here for the committee is and has found a replacement for Paul Brass. That would be Dave Reeser, who is a longtime resident of the borough, and has certainly met all our qualifications for that committee for sure. Dave knows a lot about things there and has agreed to take Paul Brass's position there as the non-council person on that committee, and we'll welcome him with open arms and look for his input. Thanks, Dave.
Great. Thank you.
Does it have to be an official motion, Chris?
Aren't those appointments by the president of council? Or I'm not sure what the formality has been on that.
We usually, yes, it is by the president of council, but we like to get everybody's input into those committee, since to the chairs of the committee, especially that everybody realizes we're trying to get the best people we can to serve. So basically, we like to have everybody informed of who's going on.
Okay.
And I'll just count it as administrative information.
Yeah, administrative information.
Okay. All right, that's it. Unless, Jim, do you have anything there?
I have nothing else.
Leaf pickup started, huh?
All right.
We're slowly ramping up, yes.
Okay. All right. Okay, that's it, Tom.
Okay. All those in favor of accepting the infrastructure report, please signify by saying aye.
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 Let's have it. Economic development, John.
Yeah, hello. I think it's pretty well self-explanatory. Chris Hartman and Jim McCarthy and Michelle and I had a meeting with the counsel for the Berkshire Mall. And those talks, I'm cautiously optimistic that they're going to try to do the right thing, but we'll see. And then the only other thing I'd like to elaborate on is maybe departure of Equus from the property over there at VF. And I don't know how we can get anybody better to deal with, but we're just going to be hopeful. And that's about all I have.
Yeah. I agree with that, John. Boy, get developers like that once in a lifetime.
Yeah.
Okay. All those in favor of accepting the Economic Development Committee report, please signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
These ayes have it.
And Tom, are you going to go back to the public library? I think you skipped over that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Well, we haven't had a library meeting in a while, but we did have one this last month.
okay. It's not on my agenda.
Oh, okay. It's in the meeting packet. Okay.
It's not on my agenda that they sent me. Okay, go ahead, Jody. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. Just a few things of note from that. The library board they had a lot of discussion. They're concerned because their state aid has been cut drastically. They're going to be getting less than a half of what they usually get from the state. And they do have some serious concerns about that and how they're going to make up the shortfall, given that they haven't been able to have most of their major fundraisers this year due to the pandemic. So I just kind of putting everybody on notice that is a concern. They're concerned about their financial viability if they have to keep dipping into their reserves. Also, they announced that the library will be a polling location this year. So those who are voting there will have the opportunity to do that coming up. They have also reopened the library for limited hours. I think as of last week, the hours are Monday 1 to 5 p.m. and Friday 10 to 2. They have restrictions on how many can be in the building and all kinds of other procedures. But I guess that's a good thing that people have the opportunity to actually go in and use the library, but they still also do have their grab and go service available as well. And finally, they did send out their membership association letters. So hopefully they will get some members to join shortly. The next meeting all their meetings are going to be on Zoom for the rest of the year, but their next meeting is next Monday at 7.
Okay. Any questions for the library board? All those in favor of accepting that report, please signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Jody, just one thing. I did see it on there, but I forgot about it until I saw this. What the heck's the whistleblower policy? I mean, I know what it is, but do they need one at the library?
Well, I think there was a little bit of discussion about whether it was really necessary. I think it was just somebody proposed why not have it. It wasn't it was just maybe we'll never need it, but if we do, at least we have something in place.
Okay.
Jody, did they spend all their PPP money that on salary so that they'll get it forgiven?
They did not specifically discuss it. I know that they were awarded that money and received it, but I do not know the specific answer whether it's all designated for that. I'm assuming that that was how they plan to use it. Yes.
Okay. Any other questions for the library? All those in favor of accepting the report, please signify by saying aye.
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 Ayes have it. Fire and Police Committee, Bill.
Okay, Fire and Police Committee met on September the 28th. Already went over most of the fire chief's report, just a couple added items that there were 70 overlapping calls, which represented 29% of the total calls. Average response time leaving the station in the borough was 1 minute and 53 seconds, way below NFPA standards. Western Berks Ambulance reported there were 237 calls for service within the borough of Wyomissing, which included Country Meadows and the Highlands. And Narcan was administered on 1 incident. The committee is making a recommendation to council to approve placement of signage for 1 week for the now Fitzy's K run, which is going to be virtual. It's scheduled for October the 25th. Is that still up and going, Lieutenant Endy? Tom?
Yes, yes, it is. I spoke with Mr. Fitzgerald after the Fire and Police Committee meeting, and that is still the plan at this point.
Okay, great. So the committee will make a recommendation to council to approve the run and the signage.
Second.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Ayes have it.
Mr. Fitzgerald was very appreciative when I told him that that would be tentatively approved tonight in the past performance for them. So thank you.
Okay, it was reported to the committee by Lieutenant Endy that Bruce Dickerson, who has been a longtime fire policeman for the borough of Wyomissing Fire Department, passed away on September the 6th, 2020. Bruce served as a fire policeman for 15 to 20 years. The committee is asking the borough manager, Pat Brandenburg, to prepare a letter of appreciation to Bruce's family. And I'll make that recommendation. That needs to go.
We have a second on that?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Okay, the last thing I have is the borough manager Brandenburg had informed the committee that the Animal Rescue League has reached out for the contract renewal, and the cost will remain the same as the 2020 contract. The committee is making a motion to recommend approval of the renewal Animal Rescue League contract for animal control and animal stray services at a cost of $1 per capita charge, with the total contract amount set at $10,461. And I will make that motion.
And a second?
Second.
And we
Is
have a
there
second.
just a quick question? Do we use up that amount, Pat, do you know, or Tom, whoever does that?
We use it a fair amount. Unfortunately, we don't know exactly how many times they come into the borough without the police department involved. But we've gotten good reports. We had 2 minor incidents, which we've taken in and straightened out with the director as far as transportation for the police. But the Animal Rescue League has made a very good turnaround from where it was in cooperation with boroughs and municipalities.
Yeah, I guess what I meant was, did we spend our 10,000 or less or more or what?
It's kind of hard to qualify, Tom. I'd say that it's one of those things, we would be sorry if we didn't have it.
Well, I was just wondering how close it was, that's all. Okay.
Okay, roll
We gotta
call.
vote, Tom.
Pardon me?
Right. Do we have to vote?
Yeah, we have to roll call.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Melissa, roll call, please.
Councilmember Boucher,
Yes.
Councilmember Woodward,
Yes.
Councilmember Brunner,
Yes.
Councilmember Jenks,
Yes.
Councilmember Menon,
Yes.
Councilmember Dare,
Yes.
Council President Mull.
Yes. Okay. All those in favor of accepting the Fire and Police Committee report, please signify by saying aye.
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 Ayes have it. Finance and Administration, Steve.
Okay, Finance Administration met on October 8th. Just to give you some highlights, it's pretty much self-explanatory also. looks as though the real estate taxes year to date have been coming in better than we were scared of happening when this first broke with COVID. I think there's only 175 real estate transactions still pending. Mercantile tax and the earned income tax are down, as you'll see in the report. But again, not as significant as we had once fretted. So I think all in all, we're coming through this relatively well. The only thing that we have to take action on is we were in receipt of the state aid for the pensions, and the committee has made a motion to recommend council approve the remittance of the state pension aid to the pension program in the same proportion as it was received, and I'll make that motion.
And a second?
Second.
On roll call, please, Melissa.
Councilmember Boucher,
Yes.
Councilmember Woodward,
Yes.
Councilmember Brenner,
Yes.
Councilmember Jenks,
Yes.
Councilmember Menon,
Yes.
Councilmember Durr,
Yes.
and Council President Mull.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. Other things we discussed were just some difference on how we're going to go about the accounting moving forward in 2021. But that'll come in after the fact when we have our budget set for the calendar year of 2021. And to that note, we are having a budget meeting Tuesday, October 27th, 2020 at 8 a.m. via Zoom. And that'll be the first committee meeting of the budget. I know the departments have all been meeting about this and Pat, but this will be the first time that the committee gets their hands on looking at the budget for 2021.
Okay.
I have.
Any questions for the Finance Committee? Hearing none, all those in favor of accepting the report, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Borough Manager's report, Pat.
Good evening, sir. The Joint Municipal Authority and the Western Berks Water Authority meeting minutes are in your package for review. As you know, we had Connolly Lawn Service, which was doing our mowing contract for the borough. That mowing contract is coming to an end. We do have the right to extend it. However, Connolly has indicated that they would not be interested in an extension. So I would like to request authorization from council to go out to bid for the 2021 mowing contract if possible, please.
Hey, that's funny. Somebody willing to put that on the table?
Yeah. Well, we got to go looking, I guess, right?
Yeah, you're
correct.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Ayes have it. Go ahead, Pat. You got it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Attached to your report is 2 letters sent to Representative Gillen and Senator Schwank on September 17th for the trash and recycling program, which we spoke with Mr. Jenks about, and he agreed this needed to be done. Basically, the state is looking at all funds to pull revenues from. They had looked at the recycling fund to do that as well. This letter is a request for them not to touch that. These funds are what we get to purchase recycling grant equipment yearly. So just putting that in there for your information. The Berks County CARES grant application for COVID expenses up to 9/30/20 has been submitted to the county. That grant request is in the amount of $96,980, and that covers overtime, equipment, staffing, quarantine costs, and borough operations. I got on here for the request for resolution. However, that resolution is on your resolution page, so I'll just wait for that. The borough newsletter with Talking Trash insert was mailed to residents last week. Melissa did an awesome job on that, so that should be in everybody's hands. If you haven't received that, please let us know. The borough website is constantly updated with the borough information, and we do have information on there regarding the trick-or-treat night, as well as the recommendations from the Center for Disease Control involving Halloween and fall activities. And we're still operating under the local disaster and the pandemic response plan. That's all I have, if no one has any questions.
Okay. Any questions for the borough manager? All those in favor of accepting his report, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Next thing we have is the treasurer's statement of operation for the general fund, the Bureau of Water, the sewer fund, highway aid, refuse and recycling, and the road tax fund. I'll defer this to Steve and Keith since Greg Portner isn't with us tonight. Any questions on this?
I have nothing to add.
Okay. All those in favor of accepting your report, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. The next item of business is the accounts payable for the somebody the accounts payable for the general fund, Bureau of Water, the sewer fund, refuse and recycling fund. Any questions on the bills?
No.
Okay. All those in favor of accepting that report, please signify by saying aye.
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 Just have it. The tax collector's report. Looks like a healthy check this month. Any questions on the tax collector's report? All those in favor of accepting that one, please signify by saying aye.
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 Have it. The last thing we have on the regular business is resolution 2020-23. And that's a resolution of the Council of the Borough of Wyomissing, Berks County, Pennsylvania, in recognition of the dedication and contribution of Paul Brass to the Borough of Wyomissing. Can't say enough good things about Paul. He is he's been around forever and quite a guy. And we are going to miss him. He's knows a lot and has a lot of history, especially when it comes to Planning Commission and Finance Committee and just a lot of myriad of different things. And this is the least that we could do for him. Is somebody willing to put that on the table, please?
Certainly. I make the motion.
Have a second?
Second. Can I make a comment, Tom?
Absolutely.
Well, Paul was on the Planning Commission with me, and he was an invaluable resource and will be hard to replace. But besides that, he was personally helpful to me, and I appreciate that as well.
Yeah, he was he would do anything for anybody, and just a great citizen for this community. And I wish him well. All those in favor of accepting the report, please signify by saying aye, or the resolution.
Aye.
Okay, and we'll get that out to him.
Excuse me, Mr. Mall, there is a update for the resolutions to be approved. There's 3 additional. Melissa, could you put the 3 additional resolution to be approved paperwork up on the screen, please?
Okay.
I'm sorry for that. That was during got the agenda out early, and then we had to redo the agenda. I'm sorry for that offer.
Okay. First one is resolution 2020-23, a resolution of the Council of the Borough of Wyomissing, Berks County, Pennsylvania, in recognition. Oh, that's Paul Brands. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Sorry.
2024, a resolution of the Borough Council of the Borough of Wyomissing, Berks County, Pennsylvania, appointing Craft Code Services LLC as residential zoning officer and Michelle Bear as commercial zoning officer. Somebody willing to put that on the table?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Can I ask a question about it?
Okay.
Please. The question is, who will be responsible in this situation
You are out of
for the
order.
animal defecation?
Are out of order.
It is not out of order. We are discussing the issue. It's not public comments. I am allowed to talk about it. I am allowed to ask questions. Please ask your solicitor. Ask your solicitor.
Mr. Kruto-Yarsky, you are out of order. However, I will answer. The zoning officer is not responsible for the enforcement of the animal feces regulation. That is under a different ordinance.
Thank you very much.
Does that mean Michelle won't do any residential stuff at all? She just does commercial?
The intention is to divide those duties as indicated in the resolution. Now, I'm sure Michelle will still be involved in consultation, but it is not going to be her day-to-day responsibility to administer permit applications with regard to residential uses.
Okay. What about other issues there?
Again, if it's a zoning issue relating to residential uses, Craft Code is the go-to agency. Michelle is going to retain her responsibility with regard to commercial projects and zoning applications relating to commercial projects.
Okay.
I have an objection under the Sunshine Act. When were these resolutions, please, taken? Were they in an executive meeting, or at what point were these made? Because I have been at every meeting this week and I have no knowledge. Plus, the other thing is you have not published these resolutions other than in the agenda, and the public did not have any time to see or to understand what this is all about. This was just, basically in the last minute put in front of the council.
Okay, the subject matter is as I have described. Do you have any public comment, Mr. Jadik?
The problem, my comment was the fact that these were put into, we did not know about these. We have no time to look at them, to understand what is this resolution about. That's all this is writing here. That's all the resolution.
Okay, what I have explained is the subject matter and the effect of the resolution.
So that's it. There's nothing else other than what's written here.
Well, there is a resolution that is a page or two long, but the substance of the resolution is
So there was no debate for that resolution other than in an executive meeting, correct?
I can't say.
Because there was no public meeting that this was debated upon. This was obviously done behind closed doors. That is against Sunshine Act, sir. I think I would move.
This is not.
Do this some other time.
This was not discussed at executive session.
Well, whenever it was discussed, it was not discussed in public. The Sunshine Act requires debate to be made in public. These were put in the last minute on the agenda. No public comments, nothing are allowed. We're not allowed to see the actual resolution before you vote on it. This is illegal.
Okay.
It's an administrative thing, isn't it, Chris?
Yeah, well, that's what I was just looking back to see. I thought these were on the manager's report, or at least there was some of this was on the manager's report at least.
Resolution 2020-24 was on the manager's report. That's an operational issue based on personnel operations within the borough. It's being put forward to Borough Council as an information item and a request for a resolution by the solicitor for approval.
Yeah, as a matter of the subject matter of this is, in my opinion, within the discretion of the borough manager in terms of managing personnel of the borough. Because the municipality's planning code requires the appointment of the zoning officer to be done by resolution, the administrative action of the borough manager has to be joined with a resolution of the borough council in order to comply with the municipality's planning code. So that's how this came to pass. It started as a personnel action by the borough manager, but the resolution follows from that because of the requirements of the municipality's planning code.
But I'd like you to note that these resolutions were not debated in public. They were just introduced now for the knowledge of the public. These, by law, these have to be debated in public. I understand all what you're saying is very correct, but every resolution has to have its time to be debated in public.
I disagree. The resolution can be brought up at council meeting. And this is an example of a situation that came up through the manager's administrative role. And it is appropriate for the borough manager to bring this to the council meeting.
Okay,
Moving on.
yes, moving on. 2024, did we get a second on that?
I second that one.
Okay, fine. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Resolution 2020-25, resolution of the Borough Council of the Borough of Wyomissing appointing Scott Miller to the Borough Planning Commission.
I'll make that motion.
Do we have a second?
May I add that? Go ahead, Nick.
Second.
Yeah. Scott is a registered landscape architect who is familiar with Saldo. I think he'll be a great addition to the Planning Commission.
I agree. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Resolution 2020-26, a resolution of the Borough Council of the Borough of Wyomissing, Berks County, Pennsylvania, appointing Michelle Bear, Assistant Borough Manager for the Borough of Wyomissing. Is somebody willing to put that on the floor?
I'll make that motion.
We have a second.
Second.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Congratulations, Michelle.
Thank
All
you.
right. You're welcome. Any other business to be brought before council this evening?
Yeah, I have a question for Michelle. You still there, Michelle?
I'm still here.
Okay. With COVID and so forth, what type of building or has there been extensions given for building permits as to when somebody takes a permit out and when they have to complete their project by?
Strictly due to COVID? No, I mean, there's nothing under state law that I'm aware of that says there's an automatic extension on a building permit, but we've always worked with, people that have open building permits to grant extensions if they can't complete the project within the stated time frame, or if there's other reasons or difficulties as to, when they thought they were going to get the project completed and that doesn't happen. So, I mean, if someone has an open building permit and COVID impacted their ability to move forward with it, we would try and work with them to make arrangements to allow for either a permit extension to be issued, or if they wanted to close out the permit that they applied for, some type of credit towards a future permit if the project goes forward.
Okay, let's go before COVID. I mean, I'm seeing some projects out there that we have the hotels are going to be open before residential projects are completed.
So the Permit Extension Act of 2013 did grant a continuance that will expire in 2021 for permits that were issued during specific timeframes. Outside of that, the building code in general, from when you are issued a permit, if you continue to do work towards the project that permit was issued for, once every 6 months, the permit is good for 5 years.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Anything else to be brought before council this evening? If not, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay. Good night, folks.